Working with polynomial functions. Let's get a little more practice. What do you say? All right, here we go. For each function, apply the leading term test. It means we're going to try to determine what's the total number of possible real zeros and turning points. Determine the zeros and state the multiplicity of any repeated zeros, and then graph the function. Well, this first function, f of x equals negative 2x times x minus 4 times 3x minus 1 cubed, actually is already factored for us. But in applying the leading term test, you got to think about this. So I got this, I would have this negative 2x times x, so that'd be x squared, right? And this 3x minus 1 is cubed. And if I were to go through and FOIL and cube all that, that would be 3x cubed. So here's 1, here's 2, here's 3. So the leading term is 5, which means there is 5 possible real zeros, and there would be 4 turning points. May not always be able to see them when we graph them. When we get to graphing these, I'm not sure. All right, well, let's state what the zeros are. So I've got this thing that's already factored. Let's set negative 2x equal to 0. And we're going to divide both sides by negative 2. Of course, 0 divided by negative 2 is just 0. So one of our zeros is 0. Now my second factor, I got x minus 4. I'm going to set that equal to 0. And we're going to add 4 to both sides, and x is 4. So we should have a 0 at 0, and we should have a 0 where x is equal to 4. And then what about this last thing? So I got 3x minus 1 cubed equals 0. Well, let's see. To get rid of that cube, technically we would take the cube root of both sides, but the cube root of 0 is just 0. And then I got 3x minus 1 equals 0. 3x equals 1. Divide both sides by 3, and x is equal to 1/3. But this is where we have repeated zeros, because that actually happens 3 times. And so our next 0 is at 1/3. So our total number is, and it's going to have multiplicity of 3. So our zeros are 0, 4, 1/3 with multiplicity of 3. All right, you want to write this down right quick? Write those zeros down right quick. 0, 4, 1/3 with multiplicity of 3, because we're going to factor the second equation next, and then we're going to do them both in the calculator at the same time. And the equations themselves are over on page 102, example 6 in your textbook. All right, let's go to the next one. All right, so here we got h of x equals negative x cubed plus 2x squared plus 8. So I'm looking for common factors. I always want to look for those first. And I have a common factor of x. But also, and I don't want to forget this, since that's a negative x, I really want to go ahead and factor out negative x, because all of those, I mean, negative 2 times negative 1 would be positive 2, and negative 8 times negative 1 would be positive 8. So I really have a common factor of negative 1x. So let's factor out negative 1x. And that's going to have the effect of changing the signs throughout our original function. So when we factor out negative x, we'd be left with x squared minus 2x minus 8. Now we can factor the quadratic. So I want 2 sets of parentheses. I just got a single x squared, so I got x and x on the left side of both parentheses. My constant number is a negative, which means inside my parentheses has got to be positive and negative. And I need two numbers that are going to multiply to -8 and add to -2. 8 and 1, nah, that's not going to cut it. What about 2 and 4? Well, there's a difference of 2 there. And so if I have my -4 and my +2, x plus 2 and x minus 4, well, +2 times -4 is -8, and +2 minus 4 is -2. Okay, I'm cool, I got it. Now, let's set all of our factors equal to 0. So I got -x equals 0. And I don't really have to do this, but divide both sides by -1. Well, 0 divided by -1 is still 0. So I have 1 0 at 0. Oh, we forgot to do the leading term test. There's three possible real zeros, 2 turning points. Okay, let's set our other factors. X plus 2 equals 0. Subtract 2 from both sides, and so we'd have a 0 at -2. And our third factor, x minus 4 equals 0. Add 4 to both sides, and x would equal to 4. So we got zeros at -2, 0, and 4. Ready to go graph them right quick? Just take a look at them. I am. So you're coming along for the ride as well. All right, well, here we are. If you recall, that first function was already factored. And I could go through the process of distributing all of that and multiplying and FOILing and all, but you know what? I can just graph them exactly like it was shown. So it was -2x times, in parentheses, x minus 4 times 3x minus 1, close my parentheses, and that was cubed. All right, well, let's go take a look and see what happens here on the graph. Uh-oh. We did an idiot move. Where was it? -2x, x minus 4. Oh, gotta turn my stat plots off. So let's quit. Sorry about that. Always helps to check your stat plots. I didn't do it. Let's turn that off. All right, now let's go to the graph. That should take care of it. All right, so there we go. All right, so I obviously got a 0 at 4. That's what I was expecting. And let's go to our graph here. And I can see I need to move this on down. Back up. Because I'm thinking I got a 0 at 0. And I can see on the graph I do. But I also thought I had a multiplicity of 3 at 1/3. Well, let's go in and see what's the value of y if x is 1/3. So I hit second, trace, or calc. I'm going to go with the value. And I'm going to say, how about when x is 1/3? What's y going to equal? And it should come up 0. And shazam, it does. So we had 1 0 at x equals 0. We had a 0 at x equals 1/3 with a multiplicity of 3, and x equals 4. Let's graph that other one right quick. And let's see what we got. It won't take us long on this one. We've already turned our stat plots off, so I don't have that problem anymore. All right, so we got -x cubed plus 2x squared. Help if I put a plus in there.
Yeah.
But not 2. 2x squared plus 8x. Ready to see the graph? All right, where's our zeros? Well, I got one at -2. I was expecting that. I got one at 0. I was expecting that. And I got one at 4, all as anticipated. Let's just look at the table, just for fun. X is 0. Thank you. At 0, it's 0. When it's -2, it's 0. At 0, it's 0. And at 4, it's 0.